Peeps, welcome to the vlog. Today marks a very special day. It's hashtag NoSmallNovember, and this is where we come up with something very creative, something big to do in November, and this was created by Cody Warner. I'm probably saying his name wrong. Today marks the day that I am starting this journey, and part of this journey means that we have to document the process on which we're going to go along to create something. I have chosen to create a documentary of something that happened to me since 2009, so it's almost been 9 years ago, and it was something called the One Lucky Penny Journey, where I traded a penny to a computer to a car to an old Winnebago. I drove Route 66 to LA to the Jay Leno show before he retired. It was an amazing journey, and I met thousands of people, and it was crazy, mind-blowing. But for No Small November, I've decided to create a documentary about that journey, and I have no idea where to start. Since part of the No Small November movement means that we are to document how this journey took place and what happened and how to do this journey, and I've never created a documentary. I'm going to document this, try to do it 2 to 3 times a week to give you a progress update to where the end of the month comes and we will premiere said documentary. That's the goal. I don't have any idea what I'm in for since I just do vlogs. And so I've never done such a thing. But I was sitting there thinking, if you're going to, this starts day one. This is ground zero. This is ground zero. What should I do to come up with, to create this documentary? And so I had to start thinking, who do I know that could give me input? And that brings me to Kevin Patrick Allen. And you're like, Todd, who's Kevin Patrick Allen, you may ask? Let me set you down. Kevin Patrick Allen is somebody that was in a small group with me in my church, and he was creating a documentary regarding some individuals. And I couldn't remember what the documentary was. I'm pretty sure that it launched. Haven't talked to him in a few months. I wanted to show you something. Look at this.
There's this moment when a trick goes wrong and you know it's going wrong. It's that weird flow state where you're trying to minimize what the bad result is going to be.
So he created this documentary with, I believe, 6 individuals. I thought today, for ground zero, first day, documenting my journey, I was going to reach out to Kevin Patrick Allen, and that's what I did. We are now getting ready to go see said Kevin Patrick Allen, so I can ask him how he created his 27-minute documentary, which I will link below, that you can go watch. It's absolutely amazing. It follows 6 individual journeys lumped into different stories. And I have questions like, how did he come up with the overarching story? He got paid to do it. How long did it take him to create a 27-minute documentary? Why did he choose black and white? Why didn't he do color? I mean, there's all these questions, because if I'm going to create a documentary about my story, are there things that I need to know? That being said, I guess we will just go meet Kevin and we'll see what he has to say. Let's go. Peeps, I made it down here. Here I am sitting here with the infamous Kevin Patrick Allen. He created this amazing documentary, which I'm going to put down below for you guys to go and check out. And since I'm doing No Small November, and I'm going to create a documentary at the end of November for my penny journey, I thought we've got to document how I'm going through the process, and this is part of the process. So I figured I'd reach out to somebody that does videos every day, just about every day, right?
Yeah.
And he's been paid to do documentaries.
Yeah.
You've raised funds and you've done documentaries.
Correct.
He is the perfect person to ask some just basic questions on where I should kind of start. He has an idea of my journey and what happened with that. I want to know on your, well, one, how about you introduce yourself? And then 2, explain how you did your documentary and how long it took and what was involved with that.
Okay, so Kevin Patrick Allen, 3 first names. So the documentary is called What Comes Next.
Right.
And it's really looking at loss, whether you've lost a dream, you've lost a loved one, you've lost your freedom.
Right.
Because we all deal with that. you know, in maybe smaller forms than the people in this movie, but we've all dealt with that, and that's really interesting to me. And so I guess the first thing I would say is you got to be passionate about what you're telling the story about.
Well,
if you're checking boxes like, I got to make sure and make this point, or I got to make sure and get this person in here, or forget all that. What are you passionate about? And that's what's going to
lead the story.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not a term paper. You know, if you feel like you've got to squeeze certain things in to get the grade, you're not going to enjoy it, and it's not going to be any good.
Your documentary had basically was it four stories?
6 people.
They're actually 6
people in 3 stories.
Okay, yeah. How long did it take you when you did that? I know it took an amount of time because it was all those stories, but it was chunked down to 25 minutes, 30 minutes? How long is that?
Yeah, it was 27 and some
How
change.
long did it take you to create that?
So it took 13 months. And I thought about it that if it was something that I was focused on 8-10 hours a day,
right,
probably would have taken me 4 to 6 months. So
I'm trying to do this in less than 30 days. You really, you really. This is No Small November. Apparently,
I wasn't supposed to answer that honestly, was
I? It's all right. Okay.
And in some ways it took longer than that because the key person in the documentary is an X Games champion.
Right.
I met him 20 years ago when he was 20 years old.
Right.
And at that time, I did a story on him back then, and he said something that just clicked with me. And what he said is he had so many broken bones, so many injuries.
Right.
It was like Evel Knievel, you know.
Right.
But he was living an awesome life, and money and travel and a measure of fame. Anyway, he said, people tell me I'm going to regret this when I'm 40, but I won't know until I'm 40.
That's
and
right.
so over the years, I was like, I wonder how he's doing.
Right.
And you look at the clock, 1998, 2018, I wonder where he is. I reached out to him, and this is one of these things, call it coincidence, call it a God thing, whatever.
Right.
I live in Kansas City now. We had met in San Francisco. So
wow.
this is meant to be.
Because he is in Kansas City as well.
He's in Kansas City.
You got to watch the documentary. It's been, it was really, it kind of drove home the point of what the overarching story and dreams and things that I'm trying to pursue and passions. And the story that happened with the penny kind of coincides with what you created. How did you come up with the overarching, because trying to contain my story, you have to have an overarching theme, because I watched that theme transpire in your documentary. Who wrote, because when I'm watching and I'm filling this in, did you come up with the storyline and how it was going to be dissected out too, or did you have somebody else help write it? No, you did it all.
Yeah, the story is just, everything that I thought through, and each one of the 3 acts has 2 characters.
Right.
And each of those characters do have something in common.
Right,
and
I noticed
so
that too.
When you're telling a good story, if you're doing it in like a linear fashion, then this.
Right.
Boring as can be.
Okay.
You've got to be able to go down a road a little ways and then do this, what's kind of called meanwhile back at the ranch.
Okay.
Go to another story for a little while. So you're leaving them hanging there. They're kind of mulling over this plot line. Then you're cutting away to another plot
and then you're coming back to it.
And then you're coming back. So that keeps the anticipation going, and it also gives you a little bit of depth and multiple layers to what you're trying to convey.
That's the thing I'm worried about is that with my story, it's a linear progression. So I'm thinking about, okay, let me ask you this question. I know it's going to be a long vlog, peeps, but I just got to get this info. You chose black and white, and I like that feel, and I thought about going that way. Why did you stay black and white the whole time? Why didn't you do black and white and then go into like color? Why did you not choose for like time progression type stuff from current to then?
So there are 2 reasons I did black and white. One is artistic and one is practical.
Okay.
So the artistic part is what comes next. Everything that they're telling me is in the past.
Right.
They're on the verge of what comes next.
Okay.
So I thought black and white worked for that reason. The practical part of it is I've got GoPro in there. I've got
all your footage was different.
Yeah, and it's like
Makes
there's not going to be any continuity. Some of it's going to look different. it's going to be distracting. It's going to
see,
be a Frankenstein kind of thing.
My thing is all my footage is from like 8 years ago, and the footage was different styles then, and we weren't shooting in 1080, and we weren't. I was shooting in all these different things, so I was trying to weigh that too.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, and there are other ways that you could go about it. You can add an effect over everything,
right?
And so even though it's not exactly the same, you've got the same effect. Maybe it's a
so like a
slight blue, or you know, a silver. Blue. So yeah, there's more than one way to do that.
It's been awesome. Is there any tips that you can give me on this little journey in the next 30 days to try to pull it off?
Well, and part of the cool thing, and I'm sure you've realized this, is the best stuff is not planned.
Yeah.
You know?
That's like my vlogs. That's why I'm sitting with you right now.
And that's the beautiful thing. And I think that's part of what's cool with storytelling these days is if it's too varnished, if it's too planned, nobody wants it.
Right.
People want authentic. That's what you can relate to.
Right.
You know, people can relate to a guy whose nose is running because it's cold outside.
It is cold. It's only like 50 degrees, and he chose the spot.
As opposed to, if I look like Brad Pitt, well, maybe they would like that. But you got to be able to relate to people, right? Or else you don't connect to them.
Do you think I have a shot at pulling this off in 30 days?
Most of it is about inertia, and you do not have inertia.
Okay, one last question, and I go.
Yep.
Is there a set time that you think was good for a documentary? I know you chose 25 minutes. Is there any kind of rule or thumb or anything like that for a time frame for a document?
Everything is short these days, you know?
So shorter the better?
So really when I went with 27 minutes, I did it because that's what I needed to tell the story. But I think these days it's like 3 minutes maybe.
There's no way I could do it.
Exactly.
It's too. This is. I really want to put the different nuances of my journey, and so I'm thinking about doing 4 acts like you.
There you go.
To try to figure out. So the first act will be maybe about me.
Yep.
The second act would be how I took the penny and traded it to the Winnebago. So all those transactions.
Mm-hmm.
The third act, I'm thinking, would be the journey to LA to the Jay Leno show.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the fourth act will be what happened 6 years later after I sold the Winnebago and how I had to go back. Do you think that's a natural progression?
Yeah, I think that while your story is linear, you can take a little chunk from at the end and move that to the beginning.
Okay.
Just enough to where everybody's wondering
what happened?
Where is he and how did he get there? Okay. And then start going after that. Okay. But this is your story, man.
It's going to be a journey in itself. Thanks, Cody. I appreciate me challenging me for No Small November. I am going to probably in the future do some more stuff with him just because he's got a lot of knowledge, peeps, and I want to maybe interject you along my journey so I can kind of use you as my reference point.
Yeah.
Is that fine?
I'd love that.
So you might see Kevin as a ongoing person throughout this month. You didn't know that.
I'll put on makeup next
That's
time.
all right. That's all right. So I appreciate you just sitting down in the cold and just giving us those tidbits. And I'm going to get to work. So
awesome.
I've got a lot of work to do. All right, peeps. We got some stuff we need to hammer out. So I'll see you in just a second. All right. That was stinking awesome. I have some great questions. He gave me some good information that I can start creating and my base groundwork that I need to take place. So with that, where do I need to go from here? I told him my idea of the 4 chapters, and he told me that I needed, if I was going to do that, I had to basically have sub-stories within those chapters. I got a lot of writing to do. I have a lot of concentration to figure out how I'm going to tell the story in those individual chapters. In order to do that, I need a board. So I need to completely wipe off my schedule. Let's wipe off the schedule. I already know what you're thinking. What schedule? Okay, so I gotta come up with a plan, right? It's time. I need to get everything off of here, change it to November because I haven't changed it to November yet, and come up with my plan because it's already the 5th and I've got a lot of work to do apparently. So let's clean this up. Let's just clean it up. Well, as you can see, cleared off. I divided this into 4 areas. First act will be me basically my story, my history on why I got to where I was at that point. 2 would be the trades from finding the penny to trading, and then the sub stories. 3 will be the journey and the people I'm going to interview, and the journey out to LA and the journey back, which was filled with miracles and craziness. And then 4 in conclusion will be reflection back, and tied up with an amazing conclusion that you will probably be shocked at the conclusion, which was amazing. And the whole reason I'm actually considering doing this whole documentary thing was what happened and what the conclusion was. So I broke it down to, I'm already 5 days in. Here's where I'm at here. The first week I'm gonna try to do me. The second week I'll try to do all the trades. The third week I'll try to do the journey, but the problem is Thanksgiving is in there and I don't know if I'll shoot much in that time frame. And then the last week, the last 3 or 4 days, I'll try to do the reflection. I'll try to get each segment completed as far as editing goes and shooting, and then compound those, which will end up with the premiere on November 30th. Right there. That will be the premiere. That seems like a pretty good laid out plan. Thank you, Kevin. This is what it is. In the midst of all this in the green are actually videos that I would like to do on my vlog. So you're gonna watch this journey. I will try to keep you up to date on my things that I'm doing, especially this week. So I hope you enjoyed that. This is my plan. This is what I'm doing for No Small November. Thank you, Kevin, for reaching out. I look forward to actually sharing with him where I'm at, what I'm doing, getting his input along the way. Maybe each segment I'll have him preview it, watch it, give me suggestions to make tweets, and that's pretty much it. So that's it. That's my plan. I hope you enjoyed today's vlog. I hope you got something from it. If you're gonna shoot a documentary, if you have, or you have shot a documentary and you have ideas or suggestions and you think I'm way off base on this whole thing, please leave a comment below. Always like, of course, and if you have just now found my content, subscribe, because I've done a lot of strange things, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, honestly. All right, thanks for watching, and that being said, I am out.